Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, tonight we're talking about the Me Too movement. Good thing or scourge for men? No, I'm kidding. We're not talking about that.
I feel like I missed minutes.
We were talking about Jonathan Majors and stuff before the stream. That's not what we're talking about tonight, though. We are talking about Loki. Season 2 episodes. We kind of talked about episode 1, so 2 through 4 specifically, as episode 5 I presume is wrapping up here in about 5-10 minutes. I feel like doing a live stream about Loki while the new episodes drop is not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
Well, when people get done with it, they're going to want more, and we can give that to them.
It's true. That's true.
And they're going to have people they can yell at and be like, the new episode totally proved you wrong.
Yeah.
That's also true.
And that's the service we provide.
We are very rarely, what was it? Once in a while, like, on maybe the most recent Doctor Who seasons, we'd actually be like fairly up to date to where there's a few days between the stream and the next episode. Nope, not for Loki.
Or Star Wars.
Well, Loki we're a week behind consistently, or in this
Star
case,
Wars
3.
is Christmas.
Star Wars we're like a year or 3 behind. Someday we'll talk about Solo, a Star Wars story maybe. That's relevant, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that wasn't.
Yeah, sure.
That wasn't relevant when it came out.
No.
But first, how are you two doing?
Okay.
Good.
Thursdays.
I heard. I heard they can get bent.
You know, that's what they can do.
Hey, Jasper, what's going on?
Throwing some Grawlixes in the Grawlix chat.
That's appropriate.
Yeah.
So, how was everybody's Halloween, by the way?
We wore hats.
Melanie and I wore hats. She made hats, and we wore them for a little bit while we were watching VHS 85. We watched that on Halloween evening. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work with children all day that day.
Right. On Halloween.
Yeah.
I imagine it's worse. Is on Halloween worse, or is the day after worse?
I don't know. I feel like today was still like the day after Halloween.
Right.
You know, this year OPS canceled, or they didn't have school the day after Halloween. Whoa. So, like, the kids could all recover, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe the parents. I'm not sure.
Jasper went for Halloween. Jasper was an underpaid, overworked 35-year-old dad.
Cool.
Do you get trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood, Jasper? I noticed that I never live a place where I get trick-or-treaters. And now that I'm like, to be fair, I have kind of been out of my party mode since my 20s, but since I don't really do Halloween parties, I wish trick-or-treaters would come by, make it feel like Halloween, and give out some candy. That's cool. But like, I never live in a place. Jasper said they got about 5 trick-or-treaters. But I've noticed a lot of people online, like there's an Omaha subreddit on Reddit, right? Mm-hmm. And I see stuff in there fairly often. But a lot of people complaining about like trick-or-treating just isn't a thing anymore. But what it seems like is it probably depends. If you live in a small town, it's probably a different situation. Trick-or-treating in small towns better anyway. But trunk-or-treats kind of it swooped a lot of that activity up. And then apparently I was reading, I don't know, yesterday or earlier today, somebody was saying like a lot of people target specific neighborhoods. So there will be specific, right? Okay. Specific neighborhoods that are just hopping. Yeah. And then then I guess they just go home.
Yeah.
So Fremont, like I live near Nye. Nye has all the big houses.
Yeah.
They get a ton. It's hard to even get across that street. Like I got across that street as I was coming home from work that night, and it's like, oh man, it's already hopping. I get to my house, nothing. Like, well, not nothing, but nothing comparatively.
In Omaha, Buffett's neighborhood is always packed. Always.
Yeah.
That's okay. I get it. Hit the rich neighborhoods, but like,
Well, that's
you're
why
you're leaving candy on the table if you don't hit every neighborhood you possibly can.
Right.
Yeah.
Jasper makes a point. He said it's stupid up in the. Excuse me. It's stupid up in this small town. They can only trick or treat from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Police enforced.
Well, here they take kids around on a tractor trailer, with a flatbed behind it, going to house or to neighborhood to neighborhood.
Yeah, where we're at, which is interesting.
Like a hayride ride.
I lived in a couple places when I was trick or treating age, but I lived in Cedar Bluffs at one point. And that's a tiny town. We would hit. I don't remember there being a cutoff, like other than people like all the lights are off now. Like nobody. Yeah. We would roam town as late as possible, but Cedar Bluffs is a small enough town where we would hit every house that was available. We'd comb the entire town, and then like there's got to be somewhere with a light on that we missed,
Right.
But whatever. That's me.
I just went wherever.
Vesper said he went to West O until 10 p.m. when he was young.
When I was little, we would just walk around wherever, as far as we could get before we got tired. And then by the time they stopped doing that, and it was more like, let's take you to a better neighborhood, I was already really too old to be trick-or-treating anyway. But I still went. I just would go. I would accompany the children, but I'd still have my own bag and stuff. But now, because of the trunk or treats and stuff, you can be making Halloween candy all week long. You just find like one of those sites that tells you where all the free events are, and whole month you're racking in candy. It's kind of amazing.
You could be making candy all week long.
Yep.
It is like a job, isn't it? You hit the streets, make that candy.
All you got to do is like hit them mommy blogger sites, and you're going to know where all the candy is.
Yep. And sometimes they have fun activities too, so that's nice.
Pillowcases, man, that's kicking it old school right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys watched anything exciting before we jump into Loki? I don't know how long. I mean, I say this. I don't know how long the Loki discussion's going to go, but
We got 3 episodes. It's going to be long, I think.
maybe.
I finally watched Barbie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of me too.
Did you like it?
Man, it was weird. It was like a dystopia, man. Randy, have you seen it?
No.
It's weird.
Dystopia? I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Well, the Barbies basically have enslaved the Kens, and then the Kens discover patriarchy, and then they come and they just totally upend society in Barbie land, and then they just try to go back to enslaving the Kens, but the Kens are like, what? And it's like, Barbie land is messed up.
I wouldn't say that they're enslaved. They're just not as quite as important as men. I mean, they kind of have the role that, traditionally women have had, where they
Except they don't even have houses. They don't even have houses.
Oh,
they just live on the beach.
Like women couldn't own property until when?
Right.
Bank account couldn't have a bank account till the 70s. The 1970s?
That wasn't cool either.
No, I'm just saying, people will react really extreme to it, like that's crazy. But I'm like, have you looked at history? Because that's kind of how, things have been for a long time. I mean, not recently. We're doing better. Hopefully we keep going that way. And I think that movies like this help to point those things out, maybe.
Right. I mean, it was like cool and funny and whatnot, but also like, I guess I just assumed this movie was more for kids than it was.
You were surprised by it.
That's what everybody says. I said that too. I'm like, I would have thought it was more going to be geared for children, but it really was not.
Right.
Bold. It's a bold move. Good on Mattel for not getting too scared about it, I guess.
Yeah, lots of people broke up over this movie.
Oh. Oh yeah, I guess I had read that. But it was like, oh man, like it all starts going to crap because Barbie is like, have you guys ever thought about death? I mean, yeah.
Wow.
It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't watched Barbie yet, but I did watch a couple things. I watched The Fog, John Carpenter classic. Great movie. I don't have to talk too much about it. It's a slow movie. It's not maybe not great, but it's a good movie. Talk to Me. Did we mention this last week? When did we watch this? No, we
I
wouldn't
don't
have.
think we did.
I don't remember it.
We watched it this last weekend. Talk to Me is a horror
Maybe
movie that
uncomfortable.
I think it came out this last summer. I don't know. It's been out for a little bit. We finally got around to watching it. I'd heard it's good. It's an A24 distributed thing. I thought it was really good. It's not fun though. It's not a fun horror movie. I don't think it's as
No.
on fun as Hereditary, which is also a very not fun horror movie. But it's depressing a bit. But interesting premise. Some shocking, brutal stuff in that movie. But
Yeah.
if you like horror movies, I recommend it.
And it's directed, is it? Or just based on, but the basically like the Australian version of Quarter Crew, kind of.
Right. No, Rucka, who I'm not familiar with. It's a YouTube channel, but like there's two brothers directed it, but they're YouTube guys who do like action scenes and skits and stuff. And they went and made this like really kind of emotionally driven, super well crafted horror movie. So yeah, interesting.
Yep.
We watched Totally Killer, which was a little. It's basically, they even say it in the movie several times. It's basically Back to the Future, but a slasher movie. I mean, it's exactly Back to the Future, but a slasher movie in a way. Chick gets pulled back into the 80s, ends up hanging out with her mom because back in the 80s, three of her mom's friends got killed by a slasher, so there's this slasher thing going on. It's a comedy. It was a little disappointing to me. If you watch the trailer for it, that's exactly what you're in for. I think the trailer actually sells it perfectly, including the humor, which is for me kind of wasn't great. There's a couple moments that made me chuckle, but like it's pretty dumb. I liked its take on time travel, though. I mean, it's pretty like straightforward, but I think it handled that super well.
Yeah. Yeah, the end was a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah. And VHS 85. I don't have a lot to say about it. Anthology found it's like the seventh VHS movie or something, but anthology of like found footage type horror stories. Pretty good. I thought it was one of the better entries, maybe.
Yeah, I liked almost all of it. There was like one or two that I was like, man, that's cheesy, but most of it was really good.
That was pretty much my Halloween weekend viewing.
I was there
I don't know,
too.
did we ever talk about I did finish Archive 81?
No, I don't think we did. You finished it?
We finished it a while ago, and I just realized that maybe we never talked about it. But yeah,
How'd you-
I finally was like, well, yeah, it's disappointing that it ended because, like, how you gonna end it like that?
Apparently, not enough people got through the season quick enough, because I think that's how Netflix decides. If people don't get through every episode quick enough, not popular enough, cancel it.
Yeah, it's
Like,
gross.
or maybe it's a percentage of people that start the season and then don't finish it ever or something. I don't know, but
It was like, trending for a while, and it was definitely on their front page.
I mean, they were promoting it. Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of their stuff is really popular, but it doesn't matter. It's like it has to reach like these specific levels, and if it doesn't, then it's gone. Which is like everything, you know. Even their really
crazy.
popular shows, like Glow, was super popular, and that might have been COVID. But what was that animated one where they were like secret agents, and it was the daughter of.
Oh, Inside Job.
Yeah, that was really popular. They canceled that.
Yeah, that show was good too.
Yeah, they're dumb. They don't know what they're doing. Besides hemorrhaging money.
When Sabrina, I mean, it went downhill, but it was still like,
Right.
come on, that's still a cash cow. It's
Yeah.
Riverdale. They never even got to the point where they could do a Riverdale crossover. Like
Right.
that's when you know you've been around.
Sabrina's one of the ones where, but that show dipped so hard. Like I was such a fan, and I was like, "No, you got it's. I know it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but you got to watch it. It's good. It's good.
Oh,
it's
season one is chef's
it's pure distilled Halloween in television form. It's so good." And then it dipped so hard that by the time it was getting canceled, I was like, "I don't care. Good, get out of here. Go on and get."
I just realized that that's where that girl from the other movie, that one, the Back to the Future killer movie, that's where she's from. She is Sabrina. Okay.
Totally killer. Yeah, the lead is
Yeah.
Kieran Shipka or something strange like that.
But I knew her,
mean,
but I was
totally
like,
normal.
I don't know where from, so. Now I do.
Yeah. So if you want more Sabrina, totally killer. I wasn't wild about it, but probably better than the last season or so of Sabrina. More entertaining. Less forced musical stuff.
just sudden glee music cut.
Yeah. That's a. Sorry, says Fana says, sorry for calling me. Oh, that's okay. That's why I put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, she tried to call you just now?
And then usually forget for days.
You do always forget.
I know.
All right, well, let's Jesse, unless you got something else you want to touch on?
The only other thing that I watched was like was Halloween. We were like, what are we gonna watch? And so I fired up the old Max, the not HBO channel, whatever. And I was like, oh, what are we gonna look at? And they have their Halloween collection or whatever. And they had AMC Plus's Anne Rice Interview
Right.
with the Vampire series, and they have that first season on. And did not know that it was going to be gone the literally next day.
It's gone already? They took
It's
it
gone
off?
already, yeah. Like I
Why?
watched one episode and we were like, oh, this show's pretty good. Let's watch this. And it was
Why?
gone the next day.
That's weird.
They suck, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand what... Every service online is it's just a mess right now. None of them
Yeah.
know what to do. The bubble burst, I think, and everybody's freaking out. But that's disappointing because I'd heard it was good.
Yeah.
Of the Interview with the Vampire series or whatever. And I'd been meaning to check it out. I seen it was added to Max, so I was like, kind of like, oh, cool. There's 4 other shows on this service I want to get
Right.
through first, but I'll get to it. And it's gone now, huh? Well, that sucks.
It's
I
gone.
didn't even know it existed.
It's all right.
They have a Mayfair Witches show too. But
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
if you want to watch that, you're going to have to be on AMC Plus.
Oh, well, I'm
Another
not going
service. Right.
I do like Anne Rice, though. I've read most of them.
Yeah. I was a big Anne Rice person in the 90s.
Well, yeah, that's when it was the time to be one.
Well, of course, yeah.
Right.
That's when everybody was, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But like this is really good, you know. And he, the actor that they got to play Louis is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the characters actually look like the people in the book instead of whatever the heck they did with the movies?
Yeah, I mean, like Louis looks like what he should, but they like aged it up a bit, you know, like it's more modern and whatnot. But it's interesting because they take Daniel, the interviewer, and they make this. Basically, they do this thing where it's like, oh, well, we did an interview way back when you were young, and all you wanted was to become a vampire. Now that you've gotten older and you can handle my story, let's try again. And I was like, oh. That's an interesting tag.
Yeah, it is. I like it.
Cool. So you watched one episode.
One episode.
Okay.
So I literally just got to see him turn into a vampire and, like an hour-long origin story. But it was like, oh, yeah, this is much better suited to long form storytelling. So basically, what we got in the Brad Pitt Tom Cruise movie in the first 15 minutes, we got an hour of. So
Right.
I am intrigued. I'm interested to see how they can stretch it out. And they were able to like throw in Easter eggs about like, here's a song that I wrote for my friend in Paris, who was a violinist. Is like, oh, are you throwing out
yeah.
Nicholas references? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Randy's like, I don't get it.
What, me?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah, I haven't read it.
I know.
What do I look like? A chump? I don't know what.
Oh,
I didn't
now.
read. I didn't read any Anne Rice, but I did read Poppy Z. Bright. Poppy
read
Z.
some
Bright
of
was
that,
awesome, and that stuff was pretty twisted. Mm-hmm. I actually, for whatever reason, I think somebody on Threads was talking about some Poppy Z. Bright books, and I was like, "Holy crap! I haven't thought about those in so long." So I did research. Poppy Z. Bright. I don't remember his name, but he is a man now, and does not write anymore, or maybe is gearing up to maybe write some more. But I don't know. Interesting following up on people.
I would never switch anything if my name was Poppy Z. Bright. That's what I would be. It would be that.
Well-
That's the greatest
well-
name ever.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like that maybe wasn't like a given name, but
It's like when your name is Steve from Blue's Clues. You just keep that name.
Yeah.
is it? Is there a joke I'm not getting?
I don't know if that's his. I don't think that's his actual name.
Steve from
But he's
Blue's Clues?
Steve.
I don't know. I think that it was his Christian name. His God-given,
No, maybe it
bestowed
was.
upon him at birth.
Yeah,
Well,
We shall call him Steve.
he
from Blue's
found
Clues.
his name when "Pow!" There was a blue paw behind him.
Savannah was recently close to someone whose last name was Bunnyfield. And I was like, I would get that changed. But that's me.
Were they in an actual field
Nope.
where there might have been bunnies?
I mean, maybe at one point, but
Okay, we are off topic.
yeah, we got 3 episodes to talk to in like a half hour or so.
All right,
When-
back to the sacred timeline.
When
Fine.
Randy's the one wrangling the show, I think something's gone wrong. We're talking about bunny fields, and we've already done the Nebraska equivalent to you get on the turnpike and then you go, you get stuck on 80th and blah 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 blah. Like we've done the talk about Westo and Cedar Bluffs and Fremont. Like nobody cares,
But where are we going to find Dorothy Lynch at this hour?
right? Is that like? There's a lot of people that are missing out. Dorothy Lynch is
Yeah,
like the best.
kidding. Most of the world.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Are Runzas everywhere? Because I know that originated here.
Not everywhere, but they're more widespread, I think, than Dorothy Lynch's.
If you don't know if you don't have a Runza, you're missing out too. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you know what everybody does have? Disney, because they own everything, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
They even got them that Doctor Who. You know what? Doctor Who is still going to be a mess. I was reading a thing about this the other day. So the new Doctor Who's episodes will be going on Disney Plus, of course. But if you want to watch, like, say the stuff we just got done revisiting, that's still going to be over on Max.
Yeah.
So like New Who up to the actual New Who will be on Max.
Right.
And if you want to watch the classic series, you got a VPN into the BBC iPlayer or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
If you want to
And-
watch their new show, Tales from the TARDIS,
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
seen that was a thing. And I was like, oh, how can I watch that? And I was like, oh, technically I can't.
right?
It's exclusive to a BBC iPlayer or whatever that crap is.
That's stinky. Well, I guess get a VPN.
I mean, I did create an account there once, but I can't VPN and Chromecast it. I don't know how to do that. Otherwise, I would.
Someone will tell us.
I don't like watching stuff on the TV or on the computer.
Can't you VPN on your phone?
Yes, but I feel like as soon as I go to like, hey, send this to the TV, it's like routing its own new connection, and then it knows.
Weird.
I'll try it though. I could try it.
I've been able to do it like with wrestling pay-per-views because like it's cheaper to get it through some wrestling pay-per-views. It's cheaper to get it from Bleacher Report Bleacher Report is who does it in the United States. Fight TV, you can get it in the UK, and it's way cheaper than trying to buy it over here. And so, like, if I want to watch it, I'm VPNing because it's cheaper. Let Britain have my money.
That's smart. That's smart. Like, yeah, no, this is a euro.
Yeah.
It's all digital money. It don't matter. It converts.
Right.
So, the sacred timeline.
How are we going to manage the loom?
Okay, so here, let me pull this up real quick, just so I had a reminder. So we talked about episode 1, which was Ouroboros.
Right.
We've since watched episode 2, 3, and 4. 2 was Breaking Brad.
Right. Mm-hmm. What a weird episode.
3 was 1893, and 4 was Heart of the TVA. Now, I just realized as we were like about to start the stream, there's only 6 episodes this season.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And I felt like this season was paced oddly to begin with, but knowing there's only 6, I really feel like this episode or this season is really weirdly paced.
Yeah.
Because that Breaking Bad, they crammed a whole bunch of crap in. Like that whole, I almost feel like that whole like little faction of people busting off to go like, it was kind of the cliffhanger, like they're doing something bad at the end of the first episode. But they basically did the whole like, this faction of people are busting off. They're basically going to obliterate all other timelines. Yeah. And then they also wrap that up in like one episode. I was like, that's like a season-long subplot of this faction that you just like crammed into an episode.
Well, really, even the time slipping was...
Yeah.
That should have been more than one episode.
How did they fix it? Did they?
By plugging in a thing and tearing him out of the timeline with the self-pruning.
Right.
Yeah.
Which episode 4 tied around to, and we found out who pruned him.
But I have questions about that still, too. But let's move on. So, what do we all think of the things?
Yes. What do we think of the things?
Well, episode 1, the end credit scene, was Sylvie in a McDonald's.
Right.
And then episode 2, we get to see more of that. And I just thought it was like, that was just her moment of being like, I want to experience everything. No, she just works at a McDonald's.
Yeah. No, you want to experience a life of poverty.
I just want to experience a normal life where I can sit on my truck during my break time with a I don't know, like a McMuffin.
I mean, have you guys spent some time at McDonald's? You can experience a lot.
It's true.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I think it's a weird decision, but I get like she just wants to live like simple life. She's gonna work at McDonald's. She got a truck. She can just hang out and do normal human things. It's also
I'm loving it.
Why it's convenient, like the fact that Doctor Who always shows up in the certain areas where the show is actually located. But it's convenient that it happens to be Earth. But I don't know. I was like, okay, that's fine. It doesn't really that's not really experiencing everything. Because that would like, okay, maybe do that for a little bit and then go live another life. But I don't think that's what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a weird decision.
Mm-hmm.
The actor guy, was that episode 2?
Yeah. X whatever, X5 or something.
Yeah.
The guy I was like, who's this guy they're suddenly introducing in episode 1 like he's a character?
Yeah.
It was that guy, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have
And
Loki
got all creepy for a whole second. Mm-hmm. Like, just in case you forgot, I'm a villain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which I don't know if we're trying to stick to one or moving to around.
I don't think we can. Yeah.
I loved the line this last episode where he was talking to Sylvie and she's like, then we're playing God. And he's like, we are gods. I'm like, yeah, we are. Yay.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting because like his like, I know they did stuff with maybe the box in the first season, but Or did they not? I don't know.
No, they did a little.
I don't really remember them using it as a threat of like gonna crush you in this box.
Oh, man.
But they
They're
definitely
just
set that
using
up.
it like crazy now. Yeah.
They set that up in episode 2 of like a potential threat or whatever. So then when it comes to episode 4, like the most hardcore scene of the whole series so far, I think it was Jesse sent me a picture of Miss Minutes from that scene.
Yeah.
In fact, here, real quick, I'll show you.
Yeah. Yep.
That.
There it is. That's the one. And it was just like, oh my God.
Her-
She was already creepy, but whoa.
Yeah, that put her into like a whole nother level. Just how excited she was by
Like
murdering
watching
this
this
whole
whole
room
thing.
full of people. Get slowly crushed.
So they reboot the system at some point in this last episode, or latest, besides the one that aired today, whatever.
Right.
So does that like end her? Because
I think that's
know,
going to save her.
will
Like,
it?
she won't get wiped out because she was being rebooted.
Okay, well, I didn't know because it seems like an end to like a string of consciousness, which I mean, I guess that could just be like somebody dying and then getting, like the defibrillated or something, maybe. So I just wasn't sure how it worked.
Well, I mean, if we're going there, like, we don't know what's going on next.
The show's over. Time.
Yeah, there's 2
Time
episodes
erupted.
left, but it's over.
It's done.
I mean,
just gonna
like,
be-
it's kind of a dumb conceit, though, too. It's like, well, if we don't have the loom that we created to manage the timeline, nothing can exist.
Right.
Yeah, that was something I was very confused about. Because on the one hand, it seemed like there's like 3 groups of people all at odds. But all 3 of them are like don't want things to get destroyed. And at least the one main group of characters have like believe they're like we have to make sure the loom's fine or else everything's destroyed.
Right.
And it seems like the other groups of people kind of agree with that, but at the same time aren't concerned about doing anything about it. I kind of feel like it's a little frustrating because these different groups of people are causing each other problems. And it's like, technically, at least for a little bit of this, you guys should all be working towards the same goal.
Right.
Right.
You can fight amongst yourselves after you accomplish that goal. Like, I don't get why some of the people are like making it more difficult when it's like, you're also going to die if they're right and everybody dies.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like, I mean, but it can't be, right? Or the show would be over.
Well, I think
But
the
to
one
Jesse's
thing is
point-
the idea was that if the TVA is so close to the timeline that it would just like wipe out the TVA. But I don't know. Like
Right.
that's not necessarily true. You should be able to like exist near it other than, like walking right out next to it, then you get spaghettified or you
Yeah,
get all your
like,
skin taken off completely.
Right. Yeah.
That was the best
It was.
kind of shock of the whole.
Yeah,
of,
oh, man.
Of the, of,
Yeah.
I guess the whole series so far. Him stepping out and then just like gone.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised. And if they, I mean, he still might be gone, but if they hadn't ended the episode the way they ended, I think it'd be more shocking because it's like, well,
Right.
they're not going to spaghettify everyone in the series, or else there's no show.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was still pretty shocking. Let's talk about Jonathan Majors just for a moment, because I really liked him as
Victor Timely.
okay. It's first off, it's so Voldemort. They're like he who remains. I hate that they all refer to him as that. But I liked his performance at the end of last season. His Victor Timely or whatever is a bit much. I feel like they maybe could have reined him in a little bit on some of that.
Right. Well, he's great at Kang, but he's just like so focused on making each one wildly different.
Right.
Like maybe a little too much in this one.
And I get what he's going for, but it's like, ugh. And his presentation, I also get his character was like on the stage doing a presentation, but it was so drawn out. And I bet that's how some
Yeah.
people felt watching his performance in last season. But I was like, come on.
Right. I love me that old timey beginning music though. That was the best.
That was good. The like player piano version of
Yeah.
the MCU theme. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm torn on episode 3. It's fun. It's almost all in the Old West, but it kind of like goes on. It's like the whole episode. The whole episode is a series of like chase scenes.
And Randy
And it
pointed
goes on
out
a little
that-
long.
Randy pointed out the whole thing is just him being attacked by crazy women over and over and over.
Yeah.
Dude, Miss
really.
Minutes goes after him immediately. What's her name? Renslayer or whatever her name is
Yeah.
shows up and is holding him hostage, and then is immediately
And
attacked by.
Sylvie. Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, it's the revenge of the Me Too movement, man." What do you?
Oh man. When then a female clock just like chases everybody in the town.
That's fun.
That
Like,
was fun.
gee, I wonder if that would have ever made the news.
Ghost clock haunting the Midway or Fairway or whatever.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
I like good production though. Still, man, I do like how much of the season takes place in the TVA. Which, if they have the sets built, is maybe cheaper than like time hopping every episode. But the TVA is such a cool looking location. So I like how much of the season's been there.
Yeah, probably most of their money has been spent on creating the Old West. You know?
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought that stuff looked really good.
Yeah. And I like the bit where she comes out of the thing all crisp and clean and everybody's all grimy looking. And,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, how they would have been.
Renslayer, I don't know.
I was worried. You mentioned Jonathan Majors. I was worried for a minute that they were going to use her as the fix for Kang and say that she was a female variant of Kang. That's what I thought was going to be the big drop when Miss Minutes is like, I know a secret, but it's going to
Yeah.
make you mad. I was
Yeah.
like, don't. And they
I
didn't.
hadn't considered that as a fix for King, although that makes sense. But and if I had, I probably would have been more sure of it. But I did think, well, I was like, is she a female him? Like that might be
Right.
I suspected that could
And
be
there's a
possible.
crocodile him, and there's a kid him, and a classic him.
I enjoyed the Ouroboros thing where Ouroboros wrote the TVA manual based
Yeah.
on
Victor Timely's
Victor's
stuff. Yeah.
writing, and Victor's writing was based on the TVA man. Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Time stuff, it's like
They didn't say paradox. I was just like, when are you gonna say it? It's paradox, man. It's a paradox.
Nope.
no, they just kind of hand waved it away. It's like, well,
Yep. Primer
who wrote
rules.
it first. Yep. Right. Yeah, I think I like this season fine. I'm not as wild about it as the first season so far. And it's partially because
Loki's kind of a tool.
he is a little bit of a tool. He is. He does flip-flop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of the
Owen
conflict...
Wilson's gonna snap.
Yeah,
right.
sometime.
I do like he's been pushed several times so far this season. I enjoy that. Because he's a fun character. And of course he wants to get pie while they're doing other stuff. He's
Right.
Yeah.
laid back. He's super laid back. But then again,
Right.
Sylvie is also not a laid back person. So
And then she's just like, of course I wind up at the pie place.
I don't know. My main issue is just like some of the conflict just kind of doesn't make a ton of sense.
Right.
You know? Whatever. I mean, I get that there would be conflict, because season 1 made it seem like the TVA was going to be like it just totally in ruins until Loki showed up at the end, which turned out to be way in the past. I don't know. It just feels like there's some things just kind of thrown at the wall, you know?
Yeah.
I like the Doc's whole thing, you know, like, and it obviously it creates the creepiest moment of the series thus far, but it was like, wait a minute, they just bombed the entirety of the sacred timeline branches, but
Right.
they won't work for Renslayer?
Right.
Yeah, no, see,
Because moral reasons suddenly?
Right.
everything about that seems really weird to me.
I agree.
Like, because they really rushed. Because I would assume it's just like it makes it seem like they're diehard follow this one lady. It's her Minutemen. But it's like we didn't really see any of that. As far as they just seem like soldiers who are like, okay, who's calling the shots? Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
But no, they're all die hard loyal to the one chick. I don't know. It seems weird, and that's where that's again that could be at least 2-3 episode subplot or something where we actually see this kind of like formation of this faction within the TVA instead of just like it's just a thing that's happening kind of on the periphery for half an episode.
And who built the hot cocoa machine?
That also felt weird.
It's like that's the worst kind of hot cocoa, but they just like glamorized it somehow. Like, oh man, if you've ever had coffee or hot cocoa from one of those machines, you're probably at a hospital or a telemarketing place, and that's the only coffee they'll let you have.
You can't trust that Victor. I don't trust that you can't trust him. He's not a good guy.
No,
He's just you know.
Before he got spaghettified, I was like, he's gonna go out there and all the timelines are gonna make him evil, or something. But that's not what happened. So
I just assumed he was going to become He Who Remains somehow. Like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
It's
Or
kind
like
of what they had set up.
Gain knowledge from the other hymns and other timelines or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, he got spaghettified, which is pretty
That's great.
wild.
yeah.
Yeah. But what again, so far I don't feel like the season is as strong, but it looks good. It's a lot of interesting time travel stuff.
We got Ouroboros. Really, that's my favorite thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I'm on board. Yeah, no, the end of I liked. This should have been a season finale. A 4-episode season would be awful, but
Right.
it's a good cliffhanger if you don't know there's at least 2 more episodes
Yeah.
coming.
Right.
But then again, with the state of Disney and Marvel, like if they ended a season like this, I'd be like, well, this show's not coming back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is kind of what they did with season 1. Remember, they were like, well, they pruned Loki, and he just ends up at the end of time.
Right. You're right.
You know, so and then we had 2 more episodes after that. It was like, okay, he's at the end of time, and now he's at the end of time.
I bet that's kind of a calculated. Now that you mention it, it's kind of how like Netflix had that obvious formula for every series for a while, where like the 7th episode they'd go and do this other thing. I feel like it's maybe a calculated decision where they're like, people get this far into a season, and they'll drop off sometimes. So we need a strong cliffhanger on episode 4 or 7 or whatever it is. Or
Yeah.
with Netflix, it was probably strong cliffhanger on episode 6. String them along through episode 7, and then we can pull them back in to finish that cliffhanger for whatever. But I bet it's kind of a calculated storytelling thing, specifically
Yeah.
based on how people watch
There's
series
an
or something.
algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah. And it may not be like a computer calculated thing, but it's like the 3-act structure is technically like a system that they're like, people like stories that work like this. It feels more fulfilling or satisfying. You know, maybe it's like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just talking, man. I'm just talking. See, this is why. Yeah, we watched 3 episodes, but I didn't know how much we'd actually have to say. And that's also kind of why I say the pacing this season feels weird, because there's like that whole subplot with them. I mean, did they destroy all the timelines? It looked like they had destroyed all the other timelines, but Sylvie's timeline, I don't think she was in the sacred one. Hers seemed okay.
Brad
it's just
sure didn't think so. I mean, he wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
right.
You think he's got something extra going on that we don't know about yet? Because, you know, standing back and watching like everybody get squished was pretty hardcore. And then he threatened that also like shortly after, and I'm like, ooh, what a horrible thing for a person to do. And I mean, obviously he's a horrible person if he agreed to that anyway, but it seems too much just because he liked being an actor. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I don't know that he agreed to them getting squished. He's just like clearly like, you know, I want to
coward.
follow. Well, yeah, she's like, I would have suspected there'd be more people who'd be like, yeah, I mean, this lady, she's fine and all, but no, like, yeah, I'll go with you. Let's get out of this cell. Like,
Right.
there's just such a little difference between what that lady wanted to accomplish with it and what the Renslayer wanted to accomplish. It just doesn't seem that big of a difference that they'd be like, no, we're going to stand here and die.
The guy that the unsung villain of this season is that one guy that is just like coming out of the boardroom and is just like, I was just following orders, man. That guy. And then he's like the one that's like, again, following orders to like take down somebody else. And you're like, this guy can't be trusted at all.
I think they're going to do more with Brad. I think they're going to make him worse. But I could be wrong. But that's my feeling.
With a name like Brad,
Yeah, exactly.
Can't trust a Brad.
you can't.
But yeah, I don't know. The pacing's weird because then we get, you know, that's all kind of crammed into a thing, and then we get a whole Wild West episode with that's a whole bunch of chasing and squabbling
Crammed
that kind of
into a
doesn't make sense.
thing.
Right. So, like, lots happen, but I don't know. There's not really much more to say about it, I don't think.
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
It's
I
good.
didn't
It's fun.
right.
It's
right.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. You want to know what else is amazing?
Yeah.
What is amazing?
Science. So, like many of us, Hans-Peter Schaub, an aerospace engineer professor at Colorado University at Boulder, was inspired by Star Trek and Star Wars. And after the first major satellite collision in 2009 between a communication satellite and a defunct Russian military spacecraft, he realized that space debris could be pulled out of harm's way using attraction between positive and negative charged objects. Or positively and negatively, whatever, charged objects. And unlike the artificial gravity or energy fields used in Star Wars and Star Trek and other sci-fis, the electrostatic tractor would use, anybody get static electricity, and it would nudge space junk by using, you know, either using the opposite charge to repel it or attract it, whichever, you know what I mean. The way you use magnets.
Like
to
the
nudge
opposite
space
of static cling.
Yeah. So to nudge space junk out of geostationary orbit so it would fly off either into the sun or into the universe, whatever, and make the prime location around Earth safer for whatever current technologies we have out there or any of the space missions, because they almost all float around in stationary orbit. But although the science is solid and they know that it will work, a prototype would cost like millions of dollars, and a full-scale operational one would be even more. So, like, unless a billionaire gets a hair up his hiney to, you know, start the coolest job in the world and be a space pirate, then it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But I was super excited about it because, yeah, that's another step closer to space piracy, and I can't wait.
You always kind of bury the lead because I think your explanation, you said it, but you didn't really specify what it is. She's talking about a tractor beam. Tractor beams are real.
No, they could be real. We know how to make them real, but nobody's going to pay for it.
You take the joy out of it.
I'm sorry.
Here's how you start it. You know what's amazing? Tractor beams and they're real. Now let me tell you the actual science behind it. That's how you grab someone's attention. Not like
I suppose.
like you and I, Professor Scuttlebottom Hinkerstonk.
Jeez, Rick, what if I had a bunch of junk that I needed just picked up out of space, Rick?
Yeah. Well, I said tractor several times in there, though. I did.
Yeah, but you got to get people's attention.
Sorry.
Beam.
I thought, the whole episode we had was getting their attention, and then I was just like the end fluff. But
Tractor beams are real, Morty. That's it. Just
have you ever paid attention to the show, Melanie? The whole show is the fluff, and the end stuff is the real content.
Yeah. We get all wound up at the end.
Okay, well, then we can make this episode, tractor beams are real. There you go. There you got it.
Okay.
We might get listeners.
I do like that you tied it. I hadn't considered when you asked me, like this story or tractor beams. I was like, tractor beams, of course, but I hadn't connected it to space piracy. So I like that you connected it to that.
Baby, that's all I ever think about.
Also,
she's Space Beth.
it's like that stupid how often do you think about Rome in a day or whatever it was?
The Roman Empire. Yeah,
the Roman Empire.
That thing is. Yeah.
With Melanie, it's space pirates and it's real. It's like a thing she actually thinks about instead of a weird question made to. I don't know. I think the joke is to gaslight people into thinking men just think about the Roman Empire every day. I don't know.
I don't get it. Yeah.
But Melanie does actually think about space pirates all the time.
Because wouldn't that be the coolest job ever?
It wouldn't suck.
Right?
Also, since it works with the way you explained it, it makes me think that if you want to draw it to you, you're pulling a thing to you. In order to push it away, what do you got to do?
Flip the polarity.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say,
Reverse
just tell them you love them.
Right.
Like, whoa, we're moving too fast.
Yep.
You know what you never did? You never made me a real girl. Well, hey, something else. Do you like music of some kinds?
Yes, of course.
Well, you should go. Hold on. This is not a naked woman, I swear.
I think you should go.
Yeah, I will go. Hold on, I gotta find the right thing. We'll just
Tank
go.
Zombie Studios, you're right. It is a cosmic horror broadcast.
There we go. I released an album.
Whoa!
For Halloween, but it doesn't have to be. That's not a naked woman. She is covered, by the way. I haven't been. I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be YouTube or some social network. They're gonna see some bot is gonna see that and be like, "That's a naked woman." They're better than I give them credit for, I guess. I released an album. It's got 12 tracks. 10 are brand new and 2 are like total reworkings of a couple of classic ones from the first Candy Sack album. This is Candy Sack 2 because the last Halloween album I did was called Candy Sack, so I couldn't think of a better title.
Is the Cosmic Horror broadcast, is that part of that first track, or is that just for the YouTube thing?
The Cosmic Horror broadcast is on YouTube if you purchase the digital download through Bandcamp or Gumroad, I put it up on there too, you will get audio. You'll get a download of it, the audio of Cosmic Horror. You could also pay $2 for it, but like I just did that so I could like list it separately on Bandcamp as its own thing too. But yes, this is, so there's the album, and then it's like a companion piece. It's basically got all the tracks from the album, and 2 extra tracks from a previous album in like a radio format with like a radio DJ who's, I mean, he's a little dramatic to begin with, but he's having a rough night. He's having a rough night, you know, with reality unfraying and all that.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, it's kind of a horror audio drama, but it's in the format of like a radio DJ guy. So you got radio DJ, and then he throws it to music.
Yeah.
I feel like at a certain point he would stop throwing it to music and just try to deal with like the weird reality unraveling around him, but he keeps throwing it to music pretty consistently throughout. He's dedicated to his job like that.
Yeah.
And it's an hour and 12 minutes. So I think it's like altogether there's a good like maybe not 20 minutes, between 15 and 20 minutes of like radio DJ stuff.
So there's like pretty verbose.
It's very verbose.
He's a throwback. He's like a Twilight Zone kind of throwback.
Very much so. Yes.
I was thinking War of the Worlds is what it reminded me of.
Same era. Yeah. In my head, I was wanting a little bit more like cool 70s-ish type radio DJ. But he does come out more like War of the Worlds, Rod Serling, Twilight Zone, but that works just as well. And then for a good portion of the potential audience, I'll just alienate them now. There's a lot of AI going on in this. I recruited the help of ChatGPT with some of the dialogue, and then did some editing and changed some things and added some stuff and cut out a lot of stuff because ChatGPT is overly verbose and repetitive. But it definitely helped with like some of the weird expressions. But also the narrator, and I think that's the most impressive part to me. The radio DJ is an AI voice, and anybody who has an inkling to be a voice actor, just put me on their crap list.
Yeah,
but
it's really pretty solid. I mean, like, and it works
impressive.
perfectly for this, specifically for this, because there is a little bit of an unsettling, uncanny valley almost nature to it. But in this particular, like in this format, it's perfect for it.
There are parts that are a little bit more monotonous or monotone, monotone, and the pacing's a little weird. And as I went along, I kind of figured out like settings to kind of give him more personality. I definitely like, you can't really steer the emotion of them. I mean, so, it obviously sometimes picks up on what it's, what you feed it, and it kind of guesses pretty well at like what they should be doing. But it's like, if I ended up doing it myself, and that was the only other alternative, and honestly, it probably just wouldn't have happened if I had to do it myself. Nobody's losing a job over this because I wasn't going to hire anybody to do this. But ideally, there would have been a lot more heightened emotion towards the end of this thing, especially certain lines talking about like on the cusp of revelation. But occasionally, I used a service called 11 Labs, and when it glitches out, it doesn't glitch out in the way I expected. I expected the audio just get weird or it'd sound glitchy or distorted or something. It glitches out like he just chugged a bottle of vodka and cannot pronounce anything right. Because there's a take. It only happened like maybe twice, but there's a take specifically towards the end where he's talking about on the cusp of revelation, where he's like, on the cusp of Revelaton. And then after that, it's just all downhill. It just the cosmic Dergy. It's pretty good. I should have figured out how to add
Oh
those
yeah,
outtakes.
blooper reel would have been awesome.
Right. But if that doesn't totally turn you off of it, yeah, you should check it out. It's fun and whatever. It's got you got some radio guy kind of losing his mind as he goes along with some creepy sounds. Some of it, I think I made a little too subtle. Like there's a lot of whispering. I don't think that you picked up on, or that the listener is necessarily going to hear, depending on like what they're listening on. So I might have went a little too subtle with some of the sound effects, but because his emotional state kind of seems to ramp up suddenly partway through. Anyway, I'm not selling this very well. It's got some music that you might like and a fun story. And I got to utilize some crazy technology. So,
Yep.
Hey, if you wanted to make yourself some cosmic horror radio broadcasts of your own, and you wanted to find some crazy sounds and stuff that you could use, maybe you want to go on over to grawlixpodcast.com/humble and check out the Humble bundles that are going on right now, because there is one that has like creepy sound effects. There's also one that has all the creepy games going on right now, and I can say that the Bendy and the Ink Machine bundle, that one it's got the new Bendy and the Ink Machine. I think they just announced a new one, but the most recent Bendy games are on there, and I can vouch for those. Yeah, so check out some Humble bundles, and one of those you could use sound effects to create your own crazy cosmic horror broadcast. And I wonder if they were to live cast something like that, what service would they want to use if they were going to live cast some crazy horror broadcast thing on the internet?
well, I would actually recommend something we have quite a bit of experience with, StreamYard.
Oh,
It's legitimately the easiest way to stream, especially if you want to stream to multiple destinations at once. Like right now, we are using StreamYard to stream to Twitch. To stream to twitch.tv/GrawlixPodcast, youtube.com/GrawlixPodcast, and facebook.com/GrawlixPodcast all at once.
oof.
And yeah, it's super easy. You can do webinars. You can record locally, so it'll record. For example, if I didn't set this one to record, but if I did, after the episode's over, I'd get a separate audio and video recordings of all of us, except Melanie doesn't have video right now, but they're recorded on the user's local machine, so it's none of this like cloud crappy copy. It's the pure video file. Yeah, StreamYard.com. You should check it out. You get started for free.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I would use for sure.
Did we really get oh, they're gone. I was about to say, did we really get an additional listener just for the promotion, just for the ad
It
segment?
was StreamYard, and they were like, oh, they're done. Okay, we're over.
They kept it reeled in this time.
Yeah. We'll
I'm
let them
kidding.
have it. We'll let them go for another week.
They're not checking up on us. I'd be surprised if they are. I'd be flattered.
And impressed with their oversight.
Right. That's it. Anything else we want to mention before we bounce out of here?
Nope.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
We
Y'all
did it
go
all.
get some Dorothy Lynch and put it on your Runza, and then make sure that you take that exit off of the turnpike.
Right. If you're going trick-or-treating, got to hit up West O.
Do it. Mm-hmm. That's where they give you the full-size candy bars.
I know in previous years, the Quasar Drive-In.
Yeah.
Not too far outside of Valley. Go there. You do a trunk or treat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, you can make a lot of candy out of your trunk. Come on.
Yeah, but wait.
That's a t-shirt right there. You can make a lot of candy out of your trunk.
I don't think that's the way it works, though.
No, I
What?
Unless we're talking about something else.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
That reminds me, there are several. I mean, it makes sense with Black Friday, but there are several sales for TeePublic coming up, and that's where all of our strangers with T-shirts.com stuff. We saw that through there. There's like 3 sales coming up this month, including one that like is a 40% off sale. I think that's their big Black Friday sale. They'll
always
usually
like
do
it when
30,
they do-
35.
Like once in a blue moon, they'll do like a free shipping one, and that's the one I want to hit because
Oh,
their shipping is crazy.
Yeah, their shipping's a little expensive. Yeah.
A bit.
So, if Melanie will remind me, I'll try to make sure to push out a couple of the designs that I've been sitting on.
Oh, why would I remind you?
Remind me again.
You could make a lot of candy out of trunk.
You can.
All right. Just don't do it on Thursdays because Thursdays. Can't.
They can.
Yeah.
Plosives. I just did all the plosives at once because Thursdays deserve it.
Thursdays deserve plosives. That's a niche. That's a weird niche audience.
That's a really. We're like,
let's make a-
"Wha- huh?
Let's make a weird
Get
shirt
a
even
pop
more
filter,
niche.
man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. You probably watched Loki's episode 5 instead of us talk about 1 through 4, and that's fine. We're going to do the same.
That was a
here
heck of a
shortly.
cliffhanger. You probably should have watched that episode.
Right. I mean, I kind of wanted to skip this and just watch it too. But no. All right. Bye, everybody.